This is swanky. This is lifestyle. This is culture. Welcome to the social center of everything culture. Culture Daily.
Oh, we are all guilty, aren't we? When we even sing the lyrics of these songs that we don't even know the meanings to, but when it comes back home to songs that we produce here, that we fight it. But anyway, somebody will say that the rhythm and the tune and the this and the that and the this. Listen, music is beautiful. We all enjoy music in various ways. But anyway, so that is a song that I don't know the title, but I just danced to it. I just tried dancing to it, but it was just it was something. I mean, we don't try and pronounce it at all. 9:15 this
Chalabam.
morning. What the name?
Chalabam.
What? Well, anyways, 9:15 this morning here on Culture Daily. We are going till 10 a.m. for a very interesting conversation. Part 2 of our autism conversation. If you remember last week, we had a very exciting and educative conversation with Dr. Chris, but we are amplifying that conversation this morning as well. But before we do all of that this morning, again, if you're looking for the best value data and voice offers that are tailored to your unique needs, I'm telling you something. Listen, at Telecel, they do understand that everyone has got their own preference, and that's why they have unbeatable made-for-me bundles just made for you. It's very simple. Now, the made-for-me bundles are very affordable, customized data and voice packages personalized just for you. Simply dial 530 star 530 hash. I beg your pardon. Simply dial star 530 hash or download the Telecel Play app to subscribe to your special made for me bundle. Telecel, connecting energy. There's more energy in the studio this morning, Lenny.
Yes, more energy as per usual. And have you bought your Bang & Olufsen atelier yet? If not, please walk into their shop, Atlantic Towers, Airport City, and grab one today. Or you can call 0201694341, 0201694341, and experience sound like never before, and also become a part of the craft. You also get to design your own bespoke audio masterpiece and also select from exclusive creations tailored to your own style. And whether you want a speaker that seamlessly fits your space or a statement piece that turns heads, just know that if you can't imagine it, then you can hear it. Again, discover more with Bang & Olufsen, and remember that we craft what you dream.
Definitely still in crafting dreams. Everybody dreams of having a wonderful smile to elevate interactions. That's why Pepsodent keeps reminding us every time we eat, food, sugars, etc. get trapped between our teeth, leading to tooth decay, gum disease, and even foul breath. But of course, there's a solution for that. 2 solutions, Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal. Now, Pepsodent Charcoal with zinc and fluoride to ensure that all the tiny holes in your teeth are filled in and you have that great dental hygiene. For those of you who have any damages to your gum, well, Pepsodent Herbal is available with herbal extracts and mint to make sure that any damage to your gums will be repaired. Pepsodent is available in every shop around us in the country. You can also speak to a dentist if you want to. All you have to do is call 0800 161 000, 0800 161 000, and courtesy of Pepsodent and the Ghana Dental Association, you can also speak to a dentist toll free. So make sure you do that, as Pepsodent keeps reminding us that every smile matters.
Well, every smile matters, and this morning our conversation is just going to bring smiles on the face of most people, because of course we are offering information as well and we're educating. Before we do that, let me remind you that Betway has got great news for you. Now, when you've placed that perfect multi-bet, it's going your way until one more pick lets you down. You know how that pain is like, right? Yes, because you lose money. Well, with Betway's Bet Saver feature, you can win even if your bet misses. Now, even on multiple losses, you can still get your bets back and more. Bet Saver is exclusive to Betway. Get way more. Terms and conditions apply. It's regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet the responsible way. Betway, get way more. It's a full house this morning, and we are honored to have Dr. Chris and Aisha Amate. Yes, summarized. Join us here this morning. Aisha is a speech and language therapist. Yes, thank you so much. Dr. Chris is a doctor and a doctor. Yes. We're going to have an interesting conversation here this morning as we extend. And we are in the Autism Month, right? And it's only right that we still have conversations in creating awareness around this as well. Last time I was saying that maybe we are the weird ones. Maybe we are the ones that we think we are normal. Maybe being normal is actually having these let me beautifully say that superpowers. That's how I want to say it. Superpowers. You know, when we watch the movie Spider-Man and Superman when we're kids and we see them have all these extra abilities to do things, you know, we marveled at these things. Maybe we are the ones, we who don't have it are the ones that are actually lower in the ranks of what a human is supposed to be, the abilities of a human being. But we sometimes, out of stereotype, you know, categorize such persons with autism as people with with, for want of a better expression, illness. But it is not an illness, because today we want to debunk all this that people walk around with, and that's why we have you here this morning to help us in this conversation again. But just a quick recap, Doc, just bring us up to speed again in some of the basics we need to know and understand about autism, then we can actually continue.
So last week, to recap what we said last week, we spoke about the fact that autism is a spectrum disorder. We don't just separate it, so it has so many parameters to and factors to it.
Low to high.
Low to high, yes. So
low to high.
So
Oh wow! You agree with him, Chris?
not that.
You saw what he was
No, I
doing.
didn't see that.
Oh, my hand is set. I'm just doing low to high. Like,
Okay.
It just was just coincidental that I was just pushing.
Okay.
Then we went on to talk about the fact that the causes are either genetic or environmental. Maybe the exposure to certain heavy metals. Last time we were talking about galamsey and its issues. One of those factors could be the exposure to some of these heavy metals that are used in the galamsey process, like the mercury and the cyanide that is used for processing gold. Exposure to it can lead to some of the developmental morbidities. Now, the second thing was talk about the fact that according to tests and research that has been done, they haven't been able to pinpoint exactly what causes the autism. And also, we should also know the fact that it's a neurological disorder which affects them in their ability to have social interactions and do certain daily activities and interact with people. So it's not that they lack certain aspects of their day-to-day activities, but they're actually very smart and they are good with numbers. Some are very good with identifying things.
So
and
we are the ones that we are not normal. No? If we were not normal.
So you the social people are not normal.
No, we are not normal because, Doc, I have a challenge in math. So would I say that because I have a challenge in math? And when I say a challenge in math, it's been very difficult from kindergarten all through to GSS or SS or math.
Alone.
Yes, and I'm very sure if I ask all those who don't like math, raise your hand. Plenty of us here raise our
I'll
hand.
add my legs.
Yes, exactly. You know, and that's a question that I want to really, really understand about. Talking about the. How rather when other people are not good in other things, that doesn't become we don't stereotype those things and say that okay,
right,
you too, you're not good in math. But when somebody super excels but has a deficiency in a certain area of maybe human actions, then we stereotype that as an illness. But we will come to that.
Right. So we continue by adding that in order for children to be identified, which she will come in with this condition, we expect that it should be done by at least age of 18 months. Yeah. Right. Where the parents are, we set parameters for us to look out for. The child is not able to play as other children, doesn't want to play with other children, is not able to speak or coo, as the word, at certain ages, they should be cool and certain babbling and saying certain words, clap their hands together and do certain actions that are part of a child's development. When we saw an image of how we talk about at certain age and certain month, you should be able to do certain activities. So if you look at that and the child is not able to achieve some of these things as the child is developing, then you know that there's a bit of delay or a problem somewhere that needs to be attended to. That's where we ended
our conversation. So Aisha, good morning again. So you indulge a lot with autistic patients or kids.
Persons with autism.
Persons with
autism.
Autism. Yes, we are all abnormal patients. We do things sometimes, and I look at Jason. He's smiling for no reason.
You would stop now.
But anyway, that's just on the side. Just kidding though. So now you start smiling. you see, abnormality. It's there. All of us have a certain element, so the spectrum is very wide. Interesting question I want to ask. In your day-to-day experiences, I want to start off from the appreciation note. What are some of the beautiful skill sets that you come across with persons living with autism?
Okay,
What have you seen in your life journey?
Yes, so I'll say that I have close to 7 years working experience in this field, and I've worked with a lot of children on the autism spectrum.
Well done.
And
Well
you
done.
find
Yeah.
children with different abilities, children with different motivation, and also community that is supporting these children, which are their parents. I start right from when kids are 18 months and above. And that is at a point where the children are not even saying anything, or probably are trying to say something but it's not clear, or maybe has a word. And as you begin to work with them, you find these children building up their abilities to talk. Sometimes you find that just the child being able to say a certain word and understanding that if I say this, I receive that, it's a pure joy to the child. So there's a motivation for the child to keep going and then keep pushing. One thing we don't see is that they understand their struggles as children. As they get to a certain stage, they become more aware of their challenges. So it's a situation where you don't meet the child with a specific challenge. You tend to have some behaviors coming up because a child needs a certain need to be met. But then without support, the child is left on their own. So they find different ways to communicate. Persons with autism have very good achievements. I will say that for last 4 years, one of my kids was the best student in his school. But then we didn't start off with him being the best student from the onset. It was through support, a lot of therapy, a lot of learning, a lot of correction, and a lot of motivation to get to that stage. It comes with an innate ability where you find a child that as early as 2 years can read a novel, can read stories. But sometimes the difficulty is probably the child doesn't understand what they are reading. So where we come in is to help the child to understand what they are saying or what they are reading. We have some children that have very good mathematical skills, as you indicated in the beginning. They can solve all the mathematical questions, but then the issue is that if you present something other literacy aspect, just because of the understanding gap that comes with communication, as we've indicated, becomes a challenge. So they tend to shift a little away from that. But the moment they get the support, they get to that stage. I would say last month I received an artwork from someone, and it was a little boy that has used Play-Doh to build Disney pictures, to create some animals. And then the colors were so much in assimilation that you don't see anything out of the ordinary. It was very beautiful. You don't see anything that is so odd in that. It was very beautiful. So I have an art teacher somewhere in East Legon. She's not a Ghanaian, who sometimes I refer some of the children who want to develop art to. So I sent her the pictures to see. And she was like, wow, who is this child? And her first question was that, is this person a person with autism? Because sometimes we know that these are the children that can do very, very, very well in artwork. One interesting thing is that if a person with autism is very good in mathematics, and someone that is quite typical is also good in mathematics, if that is their
quite typical.
quite typical, like you and I.
Normal.
No, it's supposed normal folks, typical people.
Yes. And you both are in competition. Because of hyper-focus of someone in autism, you cannot be a very good match or a challenge to that person, because definitely they are going to beat you in that competition. Yeah.
Wow. You mentioned therapy at a point in time.
Yeah.
What sort of therapy do you administer, or do you engage these persons with autism to help them with communication, for example?
So aside the classifications that you talked about, the levels and also the groups in terms of Asperger's and the rest. So when you come to our profession, we do classify the children into verbal, that are those that are speaking or saying words, non-verbal, those that are yet to use words, and those that are intermediate. Okay, so for the verbal group, one of the main challenges is understanding. There are times where they do say more than they understand, or they say things that really we would tell them that, okay, this is not supposed to be said in this direction. Like you come in here and then the place is so messy. You could just maybe put it in the nice way that, oh, can we tidy up the space? But then sometimes a child with autism can just say that, why have you done the whole place so messy and it's smelly and it's very bad? So,
very straight.
Yes.
Filtered.
Yes, so those are the
Ish.
pragmatic aspect that we look at. And then for some of the children that are yet to speak, we start with interactions, which is mostly play based, to get you to start imitating, to get you to start copying what others are doing, and then to get you to at least attempt to use some sounds and then build your words. But then the one interesting thing about autism is that not everyone on the spectrum is going to use words. And as speech therapists, what we do is that we want to base our work on being able to communicate. So whether you use words or not, you should be able to send your information out. So if you need something, how do you present that? And I always say that we can sit here and not say any word, but we can still have conversations ongoing with our WhatsApp, with sign language, by showing you pictures. So these are systems that we put in place. So for every child that is on the spectrum, there's definitely a way for you to communicate, and that is what we do as speech therapists, helping you with the communication and establishing your language aspects.
Is it a difficult thing to do? You know, when you have to take them through such therapy or such training or trying to communicate, is it difficult?
I wouldn't say it is, but I wouldn't also say it's very smooth, because this is a child that doesn't know me.
Okay.
Is meeting me for the very first time, doesn't know what to expect. We are all beginning to know each other. We are all beginning to accept each other. So sometimes it starts from trying to create a bond, trying to build a rapport, getting the child to accept who you are, and then we start from there. But then one interesting thing about children is that the moment they get to know who you are, they start to interact with you. It is not a quick fix, as we say. Therapy is not a quick fix. It can take years. For some, it can take months, and every child is different.
I pick up the word, on isolation. You know, Dr. Chris has mentioned that, you know, sometimes some of them, in reacting to certain things, they kind of isolate themselves. To have a room full of kids who have similar symptoms, do you experience that, or do they socialize?
So, as Dr. Chris said, it's on a spectrum.
Okay,
So you
all right,
find
agreed.
children that are beginning to interact, but you also find children that will be on their own. So if they have their toy, they want to go to the corner of the room and interact with the toy. You have someone that is playing along the group. So kids are in the group playing, but then some will be very away from them. So everyone in the level at which they are. But then the best approach is not to have a lot of children with needs in one
room.
space, because we are preaching and we are telling schools to open up, or society to open up and make it a very inclusive environment, so that for every classroom we can have maybe one or two children on the spectrum, or maybe one child on the spectrum, so they can pick up, interact with their peers and the rest. But then as they grow, they get to interact more. Sometimes their way of playing may seem a bit off to us, because there are instances where a child is beginning to play. He feels like pushing the friend is the right thing to do.
Which I was going to ask if they are sometimes in any way harmful, to themselves.
Yeah, so that is where we also become very accommodating, to get the other child to understand he's learning to play. So this is how he's come. So the moment you see him coming, the best approach is to hug him, is to be ready to meet him halfway and the rest. And it's part of development, but they don't stay on for a very long time. Some of the skills go off whilst they build very new skills and useful ones.
Because you mentioned that they shouldn't all be kept in one space. It's not advisable to have all of them in one space. What would you then say about because we have schools for such children with special needs, right? So what would you say can be done progressively? Because maybe at the time these schools were created, we didn't have that idea of inclusion and all of that. So what can we do to make it better so that they are better integrated into the society?
Yeah, so currently, what we are doing is that we are encouraging parents to take their children more into mainstream and inclusive schools and not put the children in very special schools. So as the kids are growing up from 0 to 5 years, they need a society, they need good models for them to pick up conversations, for them to understand what they are doing at the moment. But for some of the children that are already in the system, in terms of intelligence and in terms of ability to do things, like we said on the spectrum, not everyone will be able to get to the very high end. So every child and where they'll be able to fit. But then in the early stages, it is not the best idea to keep children in segregated institutions.
Okay. Void of spirituality. Is it possible for a non-verbal person with autism to become verbal and then to become the abnormal people that we think we are not?
Wait, I want to understand your correlation with spirituality.
No, void of spirituality, because some people fall on pastors, they will pray about it.
Right.
That's what I'm asking, that void of that. Is it possible? Because some people will say that, their child was non-verbal or was autistic and then now is not, and will attribute it to miracles or the possibility that the person is no more autistic and or the person no longer lives with autism. So void of that, if you are applying science, is it possible for someone who is non-verbal to become fully verbal, or someone who was living with autism to become, just a quote unquote normally abnormal human being? Okay,
so the question is in two folds. The first aspect of, can you move from non-speaking to speaking? Yes.
Okay.
Very much. And I have numerous examples.
And it's just fully science-based?
Yes.
Okay.
Therapy.
Okay.
Support, home support, a lot of out activities. Don't keep the children in the room because, socialization. They wouldn't learn any. When they finish learning all the things in the room, there isn't any new thing to learn. So the children are able to build up from non-speaking to speaking. Because let me ask you a question. If you are paying for therapy, because Ghana here, therapy is out of pocket. Okay, your child, everything that you do about therapy, whether you meet the speech therapist, the OT, the occupational therapist, you have to pay. And it is not cheap. It's expensive. So if someone has been able to stay on therapy for 3 years, 4 years, what would be their motivation? It's because they are getting something that they are looking for. And we have children that we're not saying any words, but now are even challenging us, the therapists. They are at that stage where they are challenging us. Okay, so that is very, very important. The second question I just
spirituality, void of that, is there a possibility that they can
naturally,
yes, they can become what the society largely accepts?
Okay, so neurodevelopmental conditions, as we know, are lifelong conditions. Okay, there will definitely be something about you that could tell that, when doctor comes, he always wants his shoe to be here. But then doctor can go about his daily work, doctor can have his daily interactions, he can go out to parties, he can do everything. But it's just one bit of that the doctor still exhibits at an older age, or even now that is an adult. Sorry.
Are you a prophet?
No.
Are you a prophet?
No. Yeah,
she's inspiring on me.
That is there. But then the thing is that new research is saying that you can cure autism because we don't have medication for autism. But what we know is that when you are met with the right interventions, you are able to outgrow the symptoms, or you are able to outgrow the characteristics. So for instance, I wasn't talking, or I'm not using words to communicate. I've worked on it, I've been able to achieve it. So that is no longer a criteria for me if someone is checking my current characteristics. and then the next moment I'm able to communicate with somebody nicely, they can also take that one as a deficit at this moment. We go on, well, maybe there are some instances where you can walk on this carpet, but because of change in temperature, you cannot walk on the tiles. I'm able to do that through occupational therapy support. So that is also not able to check. So whilst you are dropping all these skills, now we can no longer, if someone meets you 15 or 20 years old, because you've gained or you've outgrown some of those deficits, you cannot use your current data to diagnose now that this person could be on the spectrum. But then there's a history that you were once on the spectrum.
So how about now spirituality? Being that you are a speech therapist, do you believe in that? Is there a possibility? Have you had people come and then, are also doing the therapy and then also doing the spiritual side, and it works for them? But first, with your belief.
So, well, I always say that even like all the other things that is going on with the rainbow colors and the rest, I still remain neutral. But people have their beliefs. Sometimes the reason why the parents will come for therapy is because they've seen it in the spirit that God says they should come for therapy, which we accept. We've heard a lot of stories. For some people, they will tell you, oh, when we're praying, we saw that God said you'll be the one to be able to help my child. So that is why we are engaging your services. But as Ghanaians, as we are very spiritual people, and I've worked with pastors who are like, okay, we believe this is a spiritual situation, but then we also have to tackle the physical form. So I always say that whilst you are going on with the spiritual form, let God use us
to do the physical
work for the children.
Hand in hand.
So what are the results of an unattended to situation of an autistic person or person living with autism?
So it can get worse. In terms of the level, so we have 1, we have 2, we have 3. Level 1, you can live your daily life with just some little support, but mostly the deficits are in communication. Level 2, you need substantial support to be able to go through your daily activities. So more or less like on a scale of 1 to 10. Someone that is on level 2 could probably need 5. The level of support could be probably 5, and someone at level 3 could need maybe all 10 supports for the person to reach that goal. So let's say in terms of brushing teeth, level 1 just needs to know that, okay, just put your toothpaste on the toothbrush, get the water and do that. Level 2, probably you need to tell the person, demonstrate it a few times for the child to know. Level 3, it's more or less like you constantly have to do it maybe for a year or 2, on and on for the child to be able to gain that skills. The interesting thing is that when kids are at level 2 and they are meeting the intervention, sometimes as you go on, you can drop to level 1, meaning that you are getting closer to independency. Okay. What can happen in other years when you don't have support is that the skills can become worse and they can turn into behavior. So you have a child that is going around the class whilst people are sitting, but then he's not having the needed support to train him to sit for maybe some 1 minute or 2 minutes and then move on. So as the year goes by, the child's mind or the brain's pattern is that I always need to keep going round. So as an athlete, as you are going round, maybe by 1 kilometer per
what's the movie? This movie, one of the best wasn't Harrison Ford. Oh, this guy, he was autistic.
Beautiful Mind, Russell Crowe.
Not that. Oh, there's another one. Oh man, and
Rain Man.
Was it Rain? No, it was part of the movie where he's. Oh man,
he's running.
Yeah. And
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
He's running.
Yes. Amazing movie, and that speaks to what you're talking about. Okay, so I have another advocate on the line. His name is Chris Johnson, who joins me as well. Also to share a few insights into this. Chris, good morning. How are you doing, my brother?
Good morning. Hey Jay. Good morning. How are you?
Chris, fine. Thank you so much. I know you find the conversation interesting as well. Share with us your experience in this subject matter.
All right. So, first of all, I want to say good morning to all viewers and all listeners. And before I even delve into what I want to say, I just want to commend all doctors or therapists who are really doing a good work with these kids with autism and all that. They are really doing a fantastic job. And I can say that the people in Ghana are really doing a good job. And I have a point to that. I know why I'm saying that. I'll tell you later. So I discovered this in my boy, my little boy, when he was born. At a certain age, you expect kids to really talk, because the girl was talking at, I think, at an age of maybe above one. She was even reciting all the alphabet and all that, even though she's not been to school. So I just realized that no, a guy was, I think, 3 years, he wasn't talking. And I discovered something. He will go and fetch water and then come and pour it in the DSTV decoder. So I was like, no, there's something wrong somewhere. So that is when, I discussed with the mom. I said, no, we really need to look at it. She thought it was something normal because, Obekasa, that Ghanaian, just wait for it, Obekasa. I was like, no, we have to really try and see what we can do. So we got introduced to one a therapist, a very good one. I don't know if I can mention her name.
Yeah, please feel free. Let's talk about them.
Am
Let's
I
hear
allowed?
them.
Yes. Dr. Marble. So we reached out to her, and then she was able to identify him on the spectrum. And for us, I think it's what he wasn't high on the spectrum. So the only thing was for us to start with some therapy activities where we had to bring in occupational therapist. We had to bring in some other. So it's like in a week we have to get about three therapists coming in, different therapists coming in to really help. Some of them, they'll tell you come over for checkups where you go and do massages. They'll put they can put even his legs in ice. You think they are hurting him, but all these things are therapy that is helping him. And I can tell you that, Jay, the boy is 5 years. He's turning on to 6, and he's talking like a parrot. The one that we thought, oh, he wasn't going to speak and all that, because of therapy, he's now talking like a parrot. He can look at you and say, what the heck? I'm like, oh, is this the little boy who was, exhibiting all those, treats and all that? So I really want to tell parents that it is not something that we should hide them. No, the days of, oh, Akolawe there, excuse me to say, oh, yeah, Jimmy, it's past. We are now in a modern world where we need to seek help, and therapy is the only thing that can really help. I also have this friend with that particular one. There is a teacher assigned to the daughter in her school. So she's in a normal school. So don't even that when the doctor in there was talking about it, it is not always good to segregate them and put them in those special schools. No. This girl is in a normal school, and there's a teacher assigned to help her, maybe in terms of writing and all that, and she's speaking it. She's speaking it. So I really want to encourage parents. We shouldn't we shouldn't we shouldn't hide our kids. We should come out. Let us seek help. Let us talk to people who really have the solutions to it. If we are asked to see therapists, see consultants, see doctors who can really help, we should get ready for it. It is very expensive. I must say,
It's about to ask about the cost implications.
All these things that we are doing. Pardon?
I was going to ask about the cost implications. I just touch on it lightly, but you've rightly answered it.
Yeah. So yes, because if a therapist is coming to you every week and you are paying the therapist maybe 500 cedis per section, and the person is supposed to come Saturday, Sunday, you have maybe 3 therapists coming through. it is really expensive. But we are all working for the betterment of our kids. So if we can't really sacrifice that for them to also reach the stage that we want them to reach, then why are we even giving birth to them? So I want to encourage parents that they should seek help, and the only help is getting their kids therapists who can help them. They shouldn't stop. They should continue with therapy, and definitely it's really going to help. Because some time ago, I even posted something on my Facebook wall, and I said, it looks as if our generation, most people out of 10 friends, you can get about 2 people who have kids who are, autistic. So I was like, is it the vaccine that they are giving the kids nowadays, or is something that they gave to us which is being transferred onto the kids? And this is something Ghana Health Service, even WHO, should really have a look at. If you look at it, just go into it. People are not even coming out to say it, but if you really do the research, you go into details, or even you visit most of these therapists, they can tell you that no, it's like it's a certain age group, and out of 10 friends, you can get that no, 2 people have kids like that. And what I want to say is we really need to go deeper, delve into this, the same approach that we give to people, kids who have malaria or whatever it is. We should use the same approach for this. And I'm sure that we can really, conquer this. And just to chip in, I had this friend who lives in the States, and, those people, she has 2 kids, and one of them is autistic. And one thing was that, if you don't really get comfortable with somebody, you can't even share what is bothering you. So out of one of our conversations, I just mentioned, this, my son, blah, blah, blah. And then later she opened up and said, the son, the son crowd doesn't even, the only thing that the son eats is, I think, some kind of food like that. The son wasn't talking about that. And then I was like, no, therapy is the only thing. So you need to bring the child down. And she brought the child down, enrolled the child in a normal school, started therapy, and now the child is eating. He started talking on phone. It's a little bit, but you could see that there's some kind of progress. That is how come I'm saying doctors and therapists here in Ghana are really doing a good job. Somebody coming from outside and coming down and getting such progress. It is something that we really need to commend people here in Ghana who are helping our kids.
Chris,
So I think this is
the
something
system is
little I
working.
want to share.
The system is working. The system is.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
Yes, Chris, thank you so
It
very
is.
much. This insight has been very, very, it's been very insightful. Thank you so much for sharing, opening up and sharing this with us as well. And we look forward to. I mean, definitely. I think I need to really engage you beyond this as well. Now that you brought yourself up on combos like this, I'll definitely
Sure.
reach out to you for us to talk further. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Sure,
so,
sure. Thank you very much.
yeah. So that is Chris Johnson. Thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate it. But he shares, this experience with us. Therapy really, 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 really works. I think some of us might, or some people might think that is a long process. But you need to start from somewhere. I was going to ask about the costs, but I think he
said it. Yeah,
he said it.
Anything specialized in this country is expensive.
Yes.
Special care is always expensive. When even, let's talk about normal diseases. When you graduate from it being a general condition at OPD to something that requires a specialist to come in and address it, the cost goes up.
Yes. What I was going to ask was: are there any social interventions? Are there any special governmental things that are
Nope.
specially, for persons living with? And I was going to ask Chris. I forgot to ask if he had benefited of any system of any sort.
No.
None. Not a single one.
No.
No.
So I started by saying that it is out of pocket, so you need to pay it yourself. But I think currently the little that we have is that we at least have public institutions that are offering services. So for instance, if you go to UGMC, you have a speech therapist there, just one person. You come to reach, you meet one person. Kolebu has about 4 people, so that way the rate is lower than paying a private person. That is the only difference. But any other thing, you have to pay, right from consultation to therapy to getting your materials. Everything is coming out of pocket. Yes, and it's really expensive. Like you are looking at the list you are looking at is 200 cedis to 4 or 5 per session. So depending on who. And you can imagine if you're a parent and you are being paid 2,500 a month. And your child needs probably 3 sessions or 3 professionals, even if it's once a week. What are you going to eat?
That's a lot.
What are you going to use for yourself? So
any child doesn't cover all of this.
No.
One thing, first of all, I want to commend you, for what you're doing, for your years
Thank
of
you.
experience. What are some of the biggest misconceptions when it comes? Because I'm sure there are quite a bit, but what is the most prevalent when it comes to your field in terms of what we see, what we think we know, but we actually don't?
Yeah,
that's what you just said. The first one, Chris said it. The first one, he didn't want to use those words, the derogatory words people use, that the child is dumb, stupid, with Jimmy, the child. Then you have the second one, which is the spirituality, where she mentioned that it's a curse on the family and all that, or the mother passed somewhere, or the father did something. Those are 2 things that usually in our part people use, and they keep their children away from getting the treatment they require, right? But this is why we are doing all this. That's why I always say that I thank 3 Music for always doing this, trying to put the health topics out, the things society doesn't want to talk about, the things people don't talk about. Because a lot of things that we say here, when you meet people on the street, they say like, whoa, I didn't know that. A lot of people don't until you say it, and nobody can walk into hospital and say, I want to talk about this. So unless someone is giving a platform for you to say it and to give you the space to talk about it, then we can talk about it and tell you that this is what is going on. That data he gave you is correct. If you take about 10 people, right now, we don't know what's going on right now with health and disease and conditions these days. Suddenly there's been this uptick of things that were. I always used to say this thing to you, that when we were in medical school, there were some cases that were related to certain ages. You learn like this condition is, if you are looking for a risk factor, there is this age group, this age bracket.
For example,
stroke, hypertension. It was all a certain age bracket. You are older now. No, we have 23s, 21s.
So the could it be that like our epigenetics are modifying us from generation to generation?
Something is changing generation to generation.
Because it's like you are saying, there was I always use this example, food allergies. When I was growing up, I'm 60. When I was growing up, I didn't know what the food allergy was. We ate everything.
Yes.
It was nothing like they eat, It's not pistachio. It's not this. It's not that. I don't eat that. If I eat that, my tongue. Like, it was very rare to see somebody with a food allergy. But now everywhere you go, there's disclaimers on menus. There's people asking what is from topical allergies to
people even have water
allergy, soap allergy.
You understand?
The chlorine is too high. The person will react.
So I don't know if we are changing, but I wanted to know if there are any predeterminants on the parent side that can definitely cause these things.
No, the only thing I think the risk factor we know is if somebody in the family has it. If somebody in the family,
so this is totally different from things like alcohol, fetal syndrome, and those things. Those are totally
those ones give a different condition. But you can get alcohol syndrome. You can get
fetal alcohol syndrome.
Fetal alcohol. You can get developmental delays and all that. That is not.
So that's cognitive problems.
Cognitive problems, yes, and developmental problems. Where the child can grow and the head is bigger than the body and limb. They can have all that changes.
But for autism, there's no.
It's neurological.
I'm asking because we are so quick to put up a sickle cell chart. If you don't marry, you don't marry, people get excited about it and do TikTok videos about it. I want to know if that kind of system or that kind of insight exists for autism.
Yeah, I think some people at a point in time we had it being said that older mothers, if you are older, there's a chance of you getting some of these conditions as pertaining to somebody who is in the 20s getting to the 30s. Like, so there's that. Like older mothers as being a factor, but not to say that anybody listening who is older you can't have a child. Right now we're in a dispensation where anybody at all can have a child with the right.
But doesn't the quality of the egg matter.
That's what I'm saying. That right now we're in this position
So-
where the chances are we the chance a bit.
Older is older.
Yes.
Odds are that a 55-year-old it's most like on average a 60-year-old or 55-year-old
Yeah.
egg would not be as
Right.
as healthy as a 20-year-old.
But if we froze it,
25.
if we did cryotherapy and when we took it when she
No,
was
I
like
mean
in
when
her
it's still
20s,
in
when it's
while
20s,
it's
then we
still
can
in
do
the
it.
woman. I don't.
What-
This one you're saying is expensive and high tech. That the woman had the intention of late conception.
So
they
digress.
frozen it.
Okay, all right. Well, we are wrapping up our
Yeah,
conversation.
so
Time is
I
up.
think right now what we are trying to say is that this out of pocket thing is something that needs to be dealt with. Maybe a fund or something, a support system, maybe NHIS, something that will come in to support mothers or parents who are on that.
I can help
What-
you. I can help you on how that would be possible. Numbers. How many cases?
That's
How many cases?
That means that a lot of
Frequency?
unreported too.
Exactly.
A lot of unreported.
But
A lot
here's
of
the case: people are hiding it in the
the
house.
houses. Yes.
So we can just collect clinical data. For the meantime, check the schools. They'll have data. So when we put everything together, then we'll know the identified ones for now. Then we can maybe multiply.
Create awareness and then you create a way to extrapolate it as to those who are kept at home. Because I think those that are kept at home are more than those who are actually
It would
receiving
be a
treatment at the
very
moment.
intrusive research.
Very, very
Because
intrusive.
people would
Privacy,
fight it,
yes. People fight it, yeah.
Because there are people who still hide,
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who are also in
They-
denial.
They don't take them out.
even regardless of whatever ages they are
Yeah.
at.
They don't
go
expose them.
anywhere.
I was just playing
Yeah.
devil's advocate. That I'm sure the laws and the
Yeah.
banks and
Why is
everybody
it
would
getting
love
better
to do
though?
it, but
Let's say 10 years ago. You know,
Ask-
because we just
awareness wise,
misconception. I think awareness is definitely gotten better, but with how people
treatment and thinking about it.
Yes.
people not being shy about it.
It's
Is it getting
better.
better?
It's getting better. It's getting
Yeah.
better.
It's
It's
better.
better.
But I could say that about 5 years ago, the youngest you can meet in the clinic is like a 4 years old. But now you have 18 months coming. You have people that walk in and they're like, well, I don't think that he's doing this. Even when you are trying to convince them, oh, the child seems okay. They're like, oh, no, but we still want to check just maybe. So we have that ongoing. You have people recommending their friends and the rest. Yes. So there was a typical example of a family that I saw somewhere in Accra. So they were more like a VG family. So I think when the situation happened, everyone, the extended family, they got to know about what is going on. So the child was picking up very nicely, doing well. And then I was approached later, I think about a year ago. The parent came and she was like, my grandmother said that she's seen one boy be somewhere in the family somewhere. She thinks that the child is showing signs of your daughter's difficulty. She wants to ask, what did you do? So that she'll call that parent to come in and then talk to you. So at least there's a circle of a family to family.
So
thing
mouth to
going.
mouth,
Yes,
yeah.
getting really
Well,
down
okay.
there.
Our time is up. We would have to wrap it up as well. But it's been a great conversation. Thank you so much, Aisha. And rightfully, like what Chris said on the Zoom call, that's for persons like you, and Dr. Chris, who are advocates for this. You're doing such an amazing job. We can only be supported with the platforms that we have, and as well talk about it, so people don't shy away from such things. I think we're in a day and age where support is always available. That is only if you're ready to receive it. We are still in the month of April. You mentioned something about donor support and all. I think that we should also look at as another conversation for a different month, like those freezing of eggs, and if there's an income around sperm donors and as well and stuff like
There
that.
should
so
be
that-
income.
yeah, maybe Jason will want to make more money on the side. This thing. But our time is up. Thank you so much. Aisha is watching me like Aisha, he said that we should be bold to discuss things that people can't see. So I just want to see if there's other regular income for persons who want to venture into those spaces. And then what, Doc, is there can money be made in Ghana through that?
Oh, yeah, there are.
Oh, yes.
There is.
Oh yes, my gynecologist is very good at freezing eggs, so you can do that.
Oh, okay. And then and they sell them.
No.
Redemption
They-
has-
unless surrogacy.
surrogacy. Oh, so they use it for a later date, like
Yeah.
when you're
But
older.
you can actually
It's
freeze
not
and
allowed
sell.
here in a part of the world.
You can freeze.
Our part of the world is not allowed. Legally, it's not allowed.
Oh,
for
okay.
you
Then
to
we shall
do that.
export. On that
Hey,
note of expectation,
say
we're
I'm
back
going to
here same
import
time
and export.
tomorrow. Yeah, sports is for we have a lot of- Is it policy? Our time is up, but policy number 7. I want to create more Ghanaians in the diaspora. So I encourage my Ghanaian men and women to export their
Egg Limited.
Yes. And export it so that before because then we'll stop all this Donald Trump.
Local production is already high. So might as well.
So in May we'll discuss exploitation of eggs. But for this month it's about autism. Thank you so very much. We're back here again tomorrow here on Culture Daily, and we are.
Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Culture Daily was brought to you by Telecel.